Welcome back. And as preempted, we have Professor Vincent Onywera recorded the interview as he discusses the impact of the Ineos Challenge on athletics in Kenya and across the world. Now, I'm joined by Professor Vincent Onywera, an expert in exercise and sports science research, who will help us analyze the Ineos 159 Challenge, impressively finished by Eliud Kipchoge, today having clocked 1 hour, 59 minutes and 40 seconds. The long-distance runner Eliud Kipchoge is the current world record holder for the marathon, 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds, won during the 2018 Olympic marathon. He is a previous 5,000-meter runner. Now, welcome, Professor. Thank you very much for finding time to be here at KUTV News. So let's start.
Thank you.
What is your reaction and analysis of the run today? Very impressive run today.
Thank you very much, KUTV. And it's congratulations to Eliud Kipchoge, congratulations to the Kenyans, and congratulations to everybody who has made this happen.
Definitely a very patriotic time, but what does it mean in the world of athletics? Let's break down the racetrack.
I think in the world of athletics, several things come to mind here. One, Eliud was prepared for this race, and you could feel it. It was palpable. He was mentally set, psychologically prepared. He was physically prepared, and I think that had a role to play in this. Secondly, Eliud had a very strong team working with him. Remember his coach, Patrick Sang, one of the greatest athletes himself, having won a silver medal in 3,000 meter steeplechase in Barcelona Olympics. So he understood Eliud, he understood the entire operation, and he went for it full throttle. Look at the amount of rest that Eliud was given. He had enough sleep prior to the race. He had all this team of pace setters around him. Rabbits. You can call them rabbits. You are allowed to call them rabbits. And also the course was flat. Very ideal. Unlike other, marathon courses, even Berlin Marathon or New York Marathon, this course of the Vienna course was very ideal. It was flat. Remember, it was flat. It was lined up by trees, and the cheering squad was there. So everything was just fantastic. The pace setters, were, they knew that this is about Eliud and not about them. So everything had been put to provide the perfect conditions.
Very optimal.
Very optimal conditions.
So let me go down to prior to the race. There was a lot of training, there's a lot of teamwork, there's a lot of empowerment. So help me understand, what does it mean for an athlete competitively, and for an instance like this one that Eliud was made to participate, which is participated. So let's break down the training, then the quality of the pace setters, and its future in the country.
Very well. I think that if we look at it from, pre-event or pre-season, let me use that word, use a scientific word. The athletes normally have a training calendar and competition calendar. And for the sake of Eliud, I think he had made it in his mind as a belief, a strong belief, that he could actually bring the time to sub-2. But for him to do this, he needed, first of all, family support. If you listen to his family members, the mother, the father, the brothers, the two sisters, and even the wife, this was a family project that had to be delivered, and all support was given. In terms of training, Eliud was training at high altitude in Eldoret, and the altitude there is about 2,000 meters above sea level. The competition in Vienna was taking place at an altitude of around 150 meters above sea level. You see the difference.
There's a very high variation.
Very high variation. But, from a scientific point of view, when you are training at high altitude, the body, produces more blood cells, more red blood cells, and the size of the blood cells also increases. In science, we call training at high altitude is called hypoxic conditions, when you are training at a hypoxic condition, it means the oxygen there is less.
Right.
Then it requires that the body has to produce more red blood cells, and the size of the blood cells also increase.
Yeah.
With that in mind, remember he went to Vienna just a few days to the race. Of course, he was airlifted, and he traveled business class
Yes.
to ensure that this minimal disruption in his body physiology.
Right.
And when he arrived down in Vienna at that altitude, he had a physiological advantage because the body had more red blood cells, the body was more efficient in utilizing oxygen,
Right.
and I think that worked for him very well.
What about the quality of pace setters?
We got some of the best pace setters. You know, these are people who have won. You know, record holders.
Winners.
They are experienced. They are winners. They are selfless. You know, I mean, just seeing Bernard Lagat, you know, there was quite something. Seeing Augustin Kipchoge. Remember, Augustin Kipchoge has been running with Eliud for such a long time. They're age mates. You know, they ran together in during the 207 IF championships in Mombasa.
Right.
Just seeing Kenenisa Bekele, you know, there, you know, people who are the best of the best. I think that was also quite something because they understood the race, they understood the formations, and they provided Eliud with the support that a brother is supposed to give to another brother.
Right.
So that was great, and I think it was a fantastic thing. Remember, in the last attempt,
Right.
there were very few pace setters, and I think it was okay because that was experimental. It was the first time,
Right.
but this time they have gotten it right.
Okay. So let me ask, towards the end of the race, everybody was cheering, everybody was holding their breath, some couldn't keep it together. So there was this question, why didn't he break out and just run ahead? What did you expect? Because personally, when everybody started cheering and telling people, keep it on, the finish line is just about there. So I felt he should have kicked it and, you know, just hit the finish line. What was your thought about it?
I felt the same, but it tells you that this race was not Eliud's race.
Right.
Yeah, this race was our race. It was the Kenyans' race.
Very true.
Everybody was like, can you hit it and just go?
I know.
Yeah, but I think everything requires planning.
Right.
Everything requires order. And everything, in my view, had just been planned to happen the way they happened.
Right.
You know, and you saw the pace setters. They slowed down at some point. I think when they had reached about 41K, they started thinning out.
Yeah.
So that they can leave it for Eliud.
For him to run out.
And honestly, I think he gave a kick to come to the front.
Right.
And so people are feeling like he should have kicked earlier.
Speed like,
But
go for it, yeah?
but that really tells you that this race was not just for Eliud. Everybody was in this race. It had been hyped, and people are very excited. I'm sure the entire country is excited.
Very, very.
And that points to the power of sports. That sports is a very powerful tool that can be used to unite the world, to bring peace and development.
Now, this particular race was essentially planned. They said every T was crossed and every I was dotted.
Yeah.
Everything was particular. It was almost to the particular. So what does it mean competitively? Now that he's done it, and he's done it very impressively, and this was, as you say, it was not about winning. It was just about setting this record. You know, you can do it. There's no one who's limited, as the motto, the mantra went on. Competitively, what does it mean?
It means now that the stakes have been raised.
In what sense?
The stakes have been raised because Eliud has proven to the world that only you can stop you. He has also shown that with teamwork, with science, with innovation, and resilience and focus, you can actually break the glass ceiling. Therefore, seeing a situation where we are going to have a lot more Eliuds, people are fired, people are motivated. We are likely to see a lot of other great runners coming out, not only to excel in the marathon, but also even in the 10,000 meters, 5,000 meters. I would not be surprised if an athlete
Right.
from maybe even from Kenya will not break Usain Bolt's record, 100 meters record.
Now, that's a whole other race, but I will focus on the marathon.
Yes.
Currently, Eliud Kipchoge is holding the world marathon
Yeah.
at 2 hours, 1 minute, and 39 seconds.
Yeah.
Do you feel this record can be broken on a tougher course, not as optimal as the Vienna course?
I am absolutely convinced, I have no doubt in my mind, that this record will be brought down. The 2:39:1, the 2:1:39,
Right.
2:1:39 record that Eliud is holding now in the marathon will be brought down.
Why? do you say?
Because he has already shown us by running 1:59:40.2, he has shown us that human beings can actually go beyond the limits.
Right.
Human beings can actually do certain things that others might think are impossible.
Okay.
And with proper science, innovation, training, team effort, we are likely to see a lot more great athletes coming on board from Kenya to bring the record down.
Now, I want to take you back to the course before the winning. There was a lot of technology that was used. We had this car with very impressive green laser beams, just
Yes.
giving them the pace, setting the
Pace.
pace for them, showing the timing and the ideal speed that was expected towards the entire course. Now, that was very impressive for the run. How do you feel technology can now be used in the training of our athletes to be able to competitively and successfully hold titles or run in other courses?
That's a great question.
Right.
Technology has a central role to play, and before I can say how it can help our athletes, you know, Ineos is a British chemical company.
Right.
Nike is an American company, sportswear company.
Right.
These two companies are driven by research and technology. Of course, this championship, this event in Vienna, a great marketing event for the two companies.
Yes. Major.
But remember, in my view, these companies really want to show the world that there's value in research. They combine together, these two companies employ over 100,000 staff. But let me now come down to your question.
Right.
The place of science and technology in athletic excellence. I think it's very important, and we have done research in these areas, and this is the time to invest a lot more resources on science and technology as well as research in order to see many more Eliuds coming up, in order to ensure that we have a robust talent identification and development program in our country, if we are to continue maintaining our pride as a running nation.
Right. So where can the technology, or just explain how the technology can be used in training?
Very nice. Technology can be used in training in a number of ways.
And instances of the type of technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
One, we have technology which can be used to monitor the heart rate of an athlete.
Right.
As they are running, we can have what we call heart rate monitors to look at how the heart is behaving as this athlete is running. And this can be connected to a computer. So that as the athlete is running, we are able to collect this data, and at opportune time, we can be able to tell how the heart was behaving.
Yeah.
One. Two, we can be able to use technology to count the number of steps that an athlete makes during a marathon.
Right.
If an athlete makes so many thousand steps during training, we can use technology to tell them, to monitor whether they are increasing their speed or reducing the speed.
With the number of steps.
With a number of steps.
Right.
And we have that technology. It has been used elsewhere, and we can use it here.
Right.
The other way is to track the running course
Right.
through technology, and to be able to see at what point should we put more effort, and at what point should we make it easy,
Right.
free-flowing. There are also instances where we can use technology to, for example, delay the onset of fatigue. I think this is something that we should be able to do, technology and research brought together, to delay the onset of fatigue. Then look at Eliud's attire.
Right.
Look at Eliud's attire.
Oh, it was full.
The attire, you know, the armbands, the long armbands he was wearing, he was not wearing those for beauty or for show off.
Right.
He was wearing them to ensure that the muscles, the skeletal muscles of the arm are firm.
Okay.
Remember, when you are running and your muscles are kind of shaking, they need energy to be able to maintain the shaking. So these long armbands are meant to ensure that the muscles are firm, they are not shaking, and therefore we are protecting, conserving energy.
Right.
Look at his vest.
Right.
The vest was tailor-made for him to cushion him as much as possible, while at the same time ensure that he's comfortable.
Right.
If you looked at his pants, they were different from the pants of the pacemakers.
Right.
Those pants were tailor-made for Eliud Kipchoge to ensure that he is comfortable and they are fitting him. What you're not being told, and I think I should say it here, is that even his underwears were tailor-made for him.
Right.
I can tell you, people are not talking about this, to ensure that he's very comfortable and that he's not feeling uneasy as he runs,
Right.
to ensure that the organs are in place. This is technology. Then come down to the shoes, the flying shoes.
Right.
The shoes were such that, you know, you cannot walk into a sports shop and say, okay, this is the shoe I want.
Kipchoge's type of shoe.
The shoes were tailor-made for him, the flying shoes, so that he's as comfortable as possible. The shoes could not absorb moisture, neither could they release. The Kipchoge was running in his natural element.
Right.
And I think technology came into play here.
Now, the Kenyan government has been given a treat of how athletes should be running. What is expectation right now for every coach, for every upcoming athlete, as far as the attire itself is concerned? I don't even want to go back to the Rio scandal, but what is the expectation right now as a researcher and also someone interested in athletics?
Several things come to mind here. One of them is that this need to invest in athletics, this need to invest in sports in general. This need to conduct research. So universities and other institutions of higher learning need to invest in research because that's the future. That's where the future lies.
Right.
This need to invest in innovation. And I'm glad that at Kenyatta University we have a very robust, environment and infrastructure that is supportive of research, innovation, and outreach. Secondly, apart from research and innovation, this need to put in place policies. And the government has this responsibility through the Ministry of Sports, Culture, and the Heritage to put in place the robust policies that will support talent identification and development. Right. This also need to invest resources to ensure that our training fields, our stadia, our training camps are really conducive and supportive of athletic excellence.
Right. So I want to go to the IAAF rules and regulations. Now, this particular race will not go down the books of IAAF.
No.
For the reasons of the pace setters, the terrain, and the water handling. Supposedly, Kipchoge should have gone off track and gotten his water and kept running and take it back and all of that. What does it mean for IAAF that this kind of race has been done and it has been successfully and impressively broken?
It means IAAF...
Given in mind the chairman has congratulated Kipchoge, though. Sebco, the president of IAAF, is himself a great athlete. Right. Remember, he ran alongside other Kenyan great athletes, Mike Boyd, 800 meters. So I think to the IAAF, I think it's a plus for them, even though they are not going to recognize this, but it's a plus for them because athletics has been given a big boost. The entire world came to a standstill to watch athletics. Two, it also tells you the interest and the belief that IAAF, the spirit and motto
of the IAF and the Olympic Games, faster, higher, stronger.
Right.
So for me, I think IAF has benefited here in a great way. And especially that most of these pace setters are people who have been brought up through the IAF programs.
Right.
So I think it's great. It's a plus.
World record holders.
World record holders. So it's a plus to the IAF. It's a plus to to Nike. It's a plus to the Ineos, and it is a huge plus to Vienna, the city of Vienna, and Austria as a country.
Now, earlier as we were talking and discussing rabbits, pace setters, you said you had other expectations of these pace setters,
Yes.
and you also brought in the issue of female pace setters. Why did you say so?
I had expectations. Of course, they did very well. You know, the pace setters did very well. Their mind was on Eliud. Everything was focused on making Eliud succeed.
Right.
So what I expected, and maybe sometimes I'm wrong, was that as Eliud was going to hit the tape, all the 41 pace setters should have come out. You know, to pull. Not about positions, because there was only one position. Eliud, yeah. Eliud and the sub 2, you know, 159.
Right.
And so I actually expect that they will come, you know, to celebrate, to cheer, having been part and parcel of this history. 2, I also thought, and this is something that can be considered for future, that we should have also brought female pace setters. We have some of the greatest runners, you know, in the world, female runners. Marathon runners. And even you know, middle distance, even 800-meter runners, you know, even, you know, 3,000 meters steeplechase runners, you know, just to be part and parcel of the pace setters, so that to inspire the girl child, so that to tell the girl child that, yes, you can make it. You can do it too.
Right.
Yeah, and I think this is something that, you know, can be done in future.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the teamwork that came with the 41 pace setters and Eliud himself.
Yeah.
And I want to ask, what do you feel of the future of sportsmanship in Kenya?
The future of sportsmanship in Kenya is great. It is brilliant. It is bright.
Can we say we were inspired by this particular race?
We were so inspired. We were so inspired. Personally, as a researcher in the university and as a professor of exercise and sports science, I was so inspired because this is an area that has really not been studied enough, invested in enough. So I got inspired and I said, yes, we'll continue to do our research in these areas to move forward. 2, I think when I saw the CS for sports, Ambassador Amina Mohammed organized a huge, you know, gathering at the city center for people to see and cheer. I think that was a plus. His Excellency the President was very clear when he made this now famous phone call to Eliud, and he told him that all the 46 million Kenyans are behind you, they are watching you, and you'll make it.
Right.
That was a really a big boost and a mark of excellence and resolve by the government to support, you know, everybody who is interested in sports.
Okay. So my very, very last question. Now, Eliud has run under very optimal conditions to clock this particular timing. In other much more difficult, much more unfriendly tracks or courses, do you feel competitively, let's go under the IAAF rules, that this record can be broken by a Kenyan for the spirit of patriotism?
1:59:40.
Yes. And another track.
I believe that this record can be broken. Competitively can be broken.
Why?
Because, remember, there are several other Eliuds out there who have not come out with a robust talent identification program supported by science, innovation, and creativity. This can be broken. And Eliud has just showed us that we can do it.
Right.
And that was meant to tell the human race that we can go beyond what people might think is impossible.
Right.
No limit is impossible. Nobody should discourage you. nobody should stop you. It is only you who can stop you.
Oh, thank you very much, Professor, for
Thank
that
you very
very interactive conversation and analysis of this particular very impressive and very historical run. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Now, the impact of technology, the impact of sportsmanship, investment is what may be the future to breaking more world records, especially for our country, Kenya. Thank you very much for tuning in.